she regrets that particular decision because at the time she needed comforting.
Despite the excitement and confidence that comes with being with the person you truly love, some old Hollywood stars chose to keep their relationship from the eyes of the public. What could have been the reason behind such a decision? Was it just for love or the fear of an irrecoverable scandal? Join us on this interesting journey to uncover 21 hidden affairs that changed old Hollywood forever. Number 21, Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn. Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn had a love affair that spanned decades. They were the perfect on-screen couple, starring in 9 films together. Aside from the palpable chemistry they shared in their movies, a lot was happening behind the scenes that many never knew about. Their relationship was called the worst-kept secret in the history of Hollywood. The couple met on the set of Woman of the Year in 1941. At that time, Tracy was married to Louise Tracy, and his Catholic upbringing meant divorce was never an option. On the other hand, Hepburn, who had been married once herself, didn't seem to mind and never pushed Tracy to leave his wife for her. She was content to take second place in Tracy's life. They began an affair that lasted for 27 years, hidden from the press and public by careful planning and studio interference. The delicate nature of their relationship prevented the couple from publicly acknowledging their romance. However, the rest of Hollywood and anyone who ever worked with the duo knew what was happening. Despite their love for each other, their relationship suffered some challenges. Tracy reportedly struggled with alcohol and infidelity, but their love was able to withstand those trials. They would have continued their affair for the rest of their lives, but it all ended in 1967 when Tracy lost her life due to a heart attack.
Nancy and I send our warmest congratulations on this tribute and our best wishes to everyone there.
Number 20, Cary Grant and Randolph Scott. Old Hollywood was run by an iron-fisted studio system which monitored, managed, and practically dictated a star's personal and public life. This made it hard for gay couples like Cary Grant and Randolph Scott to open up about their sexuality. They were 2 handsome bachelors who happened to be Hollywood heartthrobs and roommates. They started living together in the 1930s and continued sharing their beach house for 12 years. The 2 actors first met in 1932 on the set of Hot Saturday and became friends, but rumors persisted about them, especially when a cozy photo of the bachelors was leaked. However, the 2 never publicly acknowledged if they were in an intimate relationship. They were both married 7 times to various women, including wealthy heiresses. Grant had a daughter with actress Diane Cannon, while Scott had 2 adopted children with his second wife. They stopped living together in the mid-1940s, but remained close friends throughout most of their lives. Scott passed away 3 months after Grant passed away in November 1986.
Baby, it's cold outside.
I got away.
Baby, it's cold outside.
This evening has
And I'm hoping that you drop in.
Number 19, Rock Hudson and Phyllis Gates. Rock Hudson and Phyllis Gates' relationship was more of a camouflage to hide a dark secret that must not be known. The movie icon maintained movie star status for over 3 decades while acting in some of Hollywood's biggest blockbusters. He married Phyllis Gates in 1955, but not for love or marital commitment. Wilson arranged their first meeting in 1954 at his office. Shortly after their meeting, suspicions arose about Hudson's personal life and sexual orientation, which led them to wed 1 year later. That was a smart decision made by Henry Wilson, who figured that it was the only way to silence all of the rumors about Hudson's homosexuality. Hudson and Gates ended their marriage 3 years after walking down the aisle. It was initially like a house on fire, but they later settled. After her split from Hudson, Gates pursued a career as an interior designer in Los Angeles and never remarried. Hudson passed away on the 2nd of October, 1985, from complications of AIDS.
What do you want to ask me?
Well, I'd like to ask you some of the presents you've given to them.
Oh, well, I wouldn't want to discuss that, but I can hear you loud and clear when you talk about... Did you say Miss Taylor? You mean Mrs. Todd?
Number 18, Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor. Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor met on the set of Cleopatra in Italy in 1961, and the attraction was immediate. At that time, they were both married to other people. Richard was married to his wife of many years, Sybil, and Elizabeth to Eddie Fischer. Despite deciding not to fall for Richard, she couldn't resist his charm on their first day of filming, and a bond was made. News of their affair made headlines around the world. Hollywood could no longer do anything to curtail this public scandal as it used to. They continued to deny the rumors until they no longer kept it to themselves and went public about their romance. They tied the knot in 1964. This skyrocketed the public interest in their relationship. The couple is known for their lavish lifestyle. One of Richard's most extravagant gifts to Elizabeth was the 69-carat pear-shaped diamond worth $1.1 million. Richard and Elizabeth had always been known for their frequent breakups and reunions. However, the strains of living in the public eye eventually caught up with them, and they finally parted ways in 1975.
Well, Elizabeth and I attended school at MGM, and we know each other since we're 17. So, I mean, I gave her my husband. What the hell?
Number 17. Debbie Reynolds, Eddie Fischer, and Elizabeth Taylor. This is one of the craziest love triangles in Hollywood. Debbie Reynolds and Eddie Fischer were in a seemingly happy marriage with 2 children until he blindsided the actress and left her for her best friend, Elizabeth Taylor. Debbie and Elizabeth were best friends from school. She recalled that Lizzie was already a star when they met at MGM. Even though she was just a beginner, they bonded and established a solid friendship. Eddie and Debbie first met overseas while entertaining American troops during the Korean War. At that time, Lizzie was already friends with Fischer. Eddie's relationship with her best friend Debbie even got them closer, and they became a strong trio. Debbie splashed on the big screen with her 2 blockbuster movies, 2 Weeks with Love in 1950 and Singin' in the Rain in 1992. Her fame grew, and she married Eddie Fischer in 1955. They welcomed their daughter, Carrie Fischer, the following year. On the other hand, Taylor got entangled in a love affair with a movie producer, Mike Todd, and they married in 1957. Fischer was the best man, and Debbie was the matron of honor to Taylor. So close was the bond that when Debbie gave birth to a son in 1958, he was given the name Todd in honor of the friendship. 4 weeks after the birth of his namesake, an unfortunate incident took Todd's life, and Fischer flew to Taylor's side to comfort her. A month later, what started as a condolence visit grew into a strong bond. Fischer separated from his wife, Reynolds, to be solely with Taylor. Reynolds was devastated over the infidelity and remained publicly quiet on the subject. A year later, she finally gave in to a divorce, and Taylor and Fischer got married. Reynolds told People in 1983 that she never felt bitter about Elizabeth. She further asserted that a man doesn't leave a woman for another woman unless he wants to go. The marriage of Eddie and Fischer eventually ended in 1964 after she had begun an affair with her co-star Richard Burton. Debbie Reynolds had also remarried to millionaire businessman Harry Carl in 1960. They divorced in 1973, with Reynolds facing financial difficulties due to Carl's gambling and bad investments. Fischer remarried 3 more times following his divorce from Taylor, with his fame continuing to wane. Reynolds and Taylor eventually reconciled, but their relationship never felt the same.
You revealed the big secret that your mother is Ingrid Bergman. The other big secret is your father is the great filmmaker Roberto Rossellini.
Yes.
You grew up in Rome.
Number 16, Ingrid Bergman and Robert Rossellini. The relationship between Ingrid Bergman and Roberto Rossellini was a highly publicized affair that subsequently led to marriage. It all started while filming his movie Stromboli in 1949. They were both married at the time, and the affair caused a major scandal, particularly in America. 1 year later, they had a son named Renato Robin Rossellini. They married shortly after. In 1952, they welcomed their twin daughters, Isata and Isabella Rossellini. The affair and subsequent marriage caused a major scandal, particularly in America, which drew the attention of politicians. The scandal led to Bergman being banned from Hollywood and discouraged from returning for several years. Bergman and Rossellini ended their marriage in 1958.
He was there.
At the center of it.
Yes, because he was an original. There wasn't anybody like him. And so he was dazzlingly attractive.
Number 15, Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart. The romance between classic Hollywood stars Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart was not as transparent as it seemed. They met while shooting To Have and Have Not. The pair commenced an infamous love affair while Bogart was still married to his previous wife, Mao Methot. They married when Bacall was only 20 and Bogart was 25 years older than her. Bacall and Bogart's marriage was never as simple as a silver screen idyll. They began to experience a strain in their relationship when Bacall became fascinated with United States politician and presidential candidate Adlai Stevenson. She believed she was the perfect wife for him, but his intentions differed. He had many women, which brought Bacall's romance of the heart to an end. She returned to her husband and children while maintaining a friendship with Stevenson. Number 14, Clark Gable and Loretta Young. In what became a whirlwind romance shrouded in endless secrecy, Clark Gable and Loretta Young's paths crossed while on the set of Call of the Wild in 1935. A passionate off-screen affair quickly materialized from the obvious on-screen chemistry they shared. This affair had to be kept strictly hidden due to the unforgiving moral codes of the times. During a long train ride back to Hollywood after a location shoot, one of the most infamous episodes of their relationship occurred, and Young became pregnant with her daughter, Judy. Having children out of wedlock as a single woman in 1930 would have destroyed her career on the spot. To shield herself from any scandal, Young devised a plan to hide in a private residence where she gave birth to her baby. However, she made a hard decision to put her child in an orphanage and go back to adopt her. This created a narrative that Loretta had adopted a baby girl from an orphanage to raise as her own. On the other hand, Gable never supported her or admitted being the father of her child because of his career.
It's anybody's question as to whether he was taken with me really when I was younger even than 16.
Number 13, Charlie Chaplin and Lita Gray. The star actor, nearly 20 years older than Gray, was said to have married her based on convenience. Lita Gray met Charlie Chaplin when she was only 6 years old and was reintroduced to him at 12 by a mutual friend. Chaplin was then casting The Kid in 1921. He had her portray the role of an angel. Despite her age, he openly romanced her, telling friends that if she did become pregnant, he, of course, would marry her. At 15, Lita's affair with the Chaplin resulted in pregnancy. However, rather than willingly marry her as he had said, Chaplin suggested an abortion and, failing that, offered her money. He later married her, but their marriage hit the rocks after 2 years. In her book, My Life with Chaplin, Rita opened up about the true state of her 2-year marriage with Chaplin. She suffered so much verbal mistreatment from her husband and was threatened several times during their marriage. Their subsequent 9-month divorce proceedings were spiced with stories of the comedian's philandering, of his inattention to his sons, and of his animosity toward his wife. Lita was granted a settlement of $825,000, believed to be the largest in American history at the time. Number 12, Marilyn Monroe and John F. Kennedy. The relationship between Marilyn Monroe and President John F. Kennedy was a brief but rumored affair. It was speculated that their union started with a simple, casual encounter and developed into a more serious relationship. What strengthened their connection was when Monroe famously sang, "Happy Birthday, Mr. President," to Kennedy at his 45th birthday celebration at Madison Square Garden in 1962. Despite the widespread rumor of their relationship, there's no concrete evidence of a long-term relationship. Some sources suggest that Monroe and Kennedy had secret encounters, including a supposed one at Bing Crosby's house in March 1962. Some books and documentaries have claimed that Monroe and Kennedy had a son together, though these claims are not widely accepted. Number 11, Frank Sinatra and Ava Gardner. For years, many believed that the love life of Frank Sinatra and Ava Gardner was perfect away, but the heavy romance was bound to burn. Sinatra first met the actress at a party in 1950 and began a secret relationship. At that time, the singer was married to his childhood sweetheart and wife of 12 years, Nancy Sinatra. Nancy left Sinatra after his affair with Gardner became public. After their divorce in 1951, Sinatra married Gardner. Nancy took sole responsibility for their 3 children, Nancy, Frank Jr., and Tina. What seemed like a perfect decision was far from smooth sailing. Sinatra's career took a nosedive after his divorce from Nancy. A series of irreconcilable differences entered their relationship, sometimes resulting in public brawls. The couple loved hard, but they fought harder. The union, which initially rocked the press, lasted only 6 years before they were officially divorced.
What have you been doing?
I've been reading a script that I'm going to make a film. In about, I would say, I don't know when.
Number 10, Rita Hayworth and Ali Khan. Rita Hayworth, a prominent Hollywood actress, and Ali Khan, a socialite and son of the spiritual leader of the Ismailis, had a scandalous courtship. Rita Hayworth and Ali Khan met at a party on the French Riviera in 1948 and quickly fell in love, sparking a significant public interest. They started dating while they were in their respective ongoing marriages. Their marriage was marked by media scrutiny and challenges such as Hayworth's struggle to adapt to the lifestyle of a princess and Khan's alleged infidelity and cruelty. The public scrutiny faced in the marriage was due to the cultural and moral standards of the time, particularly regarding the idea of a Hollywood star marrying a member of the Aga Khan family. They had a daughter, Princess Yasmin Aga Khan, but the marriage ultimately ended in divorce. Hayworth filed for divorce in 1951, citing extreme cruelty. The divorce was finalized in 1953, and they fought over custody of their daughter. Hayworth eventually received full custody of Yasmin, whom she raised alongside her daughter from her marriage to Orson Welles' Rebecca.
Tell me, now, this minute, do you love me?
Number 9, Gloria Swanson and Herbert Marshall. Though they tried to keep it a secret affair, their relationship garnered significant media attention in the 1930s. Swanson, who was married to Michael Farmer at the time, began a relationship with the married British actor Herbert Marshall. Marshall was a charming and renowned Hollywood actor who was every woman's dream. He starred in many Hollywood blockbusters, playing love roles with many women. In the 1920s, he shared top billing in a London play with a rising star named Edna Best. They played a couple on stage in multiple productions and finally got married in real life in 1928. Despite being married, he continued in his lustful affairs until he fell in love with Gloria Swanson, Hollywood's diva of divas. The press widely reported their relationship, with articles appearing in magazines like Modern Screen. Swanson was divorced 4 times by then, and Marshall was in the process of ruining his second marriage. Their affection for each other was deeper than the average Hollywood fling. In 1936, Swanson demanded that Marshall divorce Best to be with her, but Marshall refused to follow her request. Swanson eventually left Marshall after realizing he would not divorce his wife for the sake of their relationship. In her autobiography, Swanson wrote that she had never been as loved by anyone as by Marshall. Best finally ditched Marshall in 1940. He got married 3 times before he passed away in 1966.
Here's another face movie audiences will never forget. The screen's most famous Tarzan, Mr. Johnny Weissmuller.
Number 8, Tallulah Bankhead and Johnny Weissmuller. The moral standard of old Hollywood made it difficult for some affairs to be publicized. This was the case of Tallulah Bankhead and Johnny Weissmuller. Having met at the pool at Hollywood's resplendent Garden of Allah Hotel, the duo started an intense but short romantic affair. Bankhead was a member of the Bankhead and Brockman family, a prominent Alabama political family. Her grandfather and uncle were U.S. senators, and her father was the House of Representatives Speaker. The family would do anything to protect their image, but Bankhead had a different personality. She was not only famous as an actress, but also for her many affairs and compelling personality. Bankhead had many affairs and spoke openly about her intimate life. For example, describing herself as a very satisfied Jane after intimacy with Johnny Weissmuller, who played Tarzan, in the pool of the Garden of Allah Hotel. Sources revealed that Bankhead flung herself into a pool at Hollywood's resplendent Garden of Allah Hotel, pretending to be a damsel in distress. She hoped to be rescued by Olympic gold medal swimmer Johnny Weissmuller, who had just debuted on the big screen as Tarzan. Once in the water, Bankhead's dress disappeared, and she found her way into Weissmuller's arms, naked. What started like a rescue mission became a secret love affair for just 2 months. Number 7. Toni Mannix and George Reeves. The American actress and dancer Toni Mannix became best known for her long-term romantic relationship with actor George Reeves, the star of the series Adventures of Superman. Their affair began in the late 1940s and lasted for several years. Despite being married to Eddie Mannix, Toni was deeply involved with Reeves and was a significant presence in his life. She supported him financially and helped him with his career, purchasing a home in Benedict Canyon. Their relationship hit the rock in the 1950s when Reeves became involved with another woman, Leonore Lemmon. This new relationship caused significant tension and is often cited as a factor in the mysterious circumstances surrounding Reeves's demise. On the 16th of June, 1959, George Reeves was found lifeless from a gunshot wound to the head in his home. Toni Mannix was devastated by Reeves's demise. She never publicly commented on the circumstances surrounding it, but friends and acquaintances noted her deep and lasting grief. After the demise of George Reeves and her husband Eddie Mannix, Toni Mannix lived a quieter life. She continued to reside in their Beverly Hills home and remained active in charitable causes. Number 6. Jean Harlow and Paul Byrne. The relationship between the couple Jean Harlow and Paul Byrne was quite unusual from the beginning. This is why there was a lot of speculation when their marriage ended tragically with Paul Byrne's demise 2 months after their wedding. Paul Byrne, born Paul Levy, was a German-born American film director, screenwriter, and producer for MGM. He was also a producer for Irving Thalberg. Byrne played a significant role in launching Jean Harlow's career. Harlow has always considered him a mentor, while Byrne saw her as the fruit of his hard work. The relationship was kept secret initially because Byrne was married, but they later made it public. They got married only to be confronted by a tragedy. Byrne's self-inflicted demise occurred just 2 months after his marriage to Harlow, which initially led to suspicion about the actress. The circumstances surrounding his demise fueled speculation, with initial rumors suggesting foul play or studio interference to protect Harlow's reputation. Various alternative theories about Byrne's demise have emerged, including the possibility of murder or the pressure of Hollywood's expectations. Some theories even point to Byrne's previous relationship with Dorothy Millette. Number 5. Spade Cooley and Ella Mae Evans. They looked like they were really in love until everything turned upside down. Spade Cooley was married to his wife, but divorced her immediately after he saw Ella Mae Evans. Evans was a singer in Cooley's band and was 15 years younger than Cooley. They got married around 1945. As part of her commitment to her marriage, she quit show business and began to raise a family. Cooley's fame in music and film increased, so he drank heavily and became a womanizing cheat. It was noted that throughout their marriage, Evans was often beaten by Cooley, and on several occasions tried to leave him. Cooley had accused his wife of cheating, even with his former boss and good friend Roy Rogers. As the beatings escalated, Evans hired a lawyer and filed for divorce in March 1961. This decision got Cooley so upset that he beat her again, making her sign over the property to him and also forcing her to admit infidelities to friends and their 14-year-old daughter. The fight grew more intense, and on the 3rd of April 1961, Cooley murdered his wife in an attack that was so vicious and cruel. He was sentenced to life in prison afterward. Number 4. Pola Negri and Rudolph Valentino. In an extremely silent era, the most glamorous, exotic Hollywood stars had a dignified romance, initially void of public spectacle. Rudy and Pola allegedly first met in 1926 at a costume party thrown by Marion Davies. Rudy was dressed as his Blood and Sand Matador character, and Pola came dressed as an officer of the guard for Catherine the Great. Pola was thrilled by Rudy's looks and supposedly asked Nazimova for an introduction. What was just a mere attraction created a spark between them, resulting in a rendezvous evening, and love was born. Pola and Rudy were seen everywhere doing everything and seemed so happy, but they never admitted their relationship. Just like a dream, tragedy struck them, leading to the mysterious demise of Rudy. Pola was beyond devastated. At Valentino's Hollywood funeral, Pola ordered a $2,000 bed of red roses with the name Pola prominently displayed in white roses at the center of the arrangement. Her grief was apparent, but no matter how heartfelt, it did not win her any fans. Her behavior was so much criticized that she began to lose her relevance. Due to the negative press she received, her films began to fare poorly at the box office. The advent of talking pictures placed the final nail in Pola's Hollywood career. However, she continued to work in Europe and live a very colorful life.
What was that?
Oh, he's a little damp.
Pass the goddamn butter, I beg
you. You read flying magazines.
Trade journals on engineering.
Number 3, Katharine Hepburn and Howard Hughes. The romantic relationship between Katharine Hepburn and Howard Hughes lasted for 18 months between 1938 and 1939. They never got married, but their romance was a prominent celebrity story of the time, later depicted in the movie The Aviator. It all started when Hughes's close friend Cary Grant introduced them. Hepburn and Hughes became a well-known celebrity couple, attracting much attention and media scrutiny. Hughes was also involved with other women during their relationship, including Fay Wray, Ginger Rogers, and Olivia de Havilland. Hepburn was reportedly upset by Hughes's affairs, which led to the end of their relationship. Their failed love affair brought Hepburn's career to a downward spiral. However, it was helped back to stardom when the Philadelphia Story was released in 1940. She later became known for her role with Spencer Tracy. Hepburn was known for her private life and did not discuss her romantic relationships publicly.
Now, I have some instructions for you. I want you to go straight back to the gallery. Start your motor. When you get to the gallery, tell Jennifer that she will be looking after things temporarily. She's to give me a ring if there's anything she can't deal with herself.
Number 2, Katharine Hepburn and Leland Hayward. They had the most documented affair in the 1930s, which began after Hepburn moved to Hollywood and began her film career. During the initial years of their relationship, Leland Hayward subsequently married Margaret Sullivan, but remained with Hepburn. Their love story began when Hepburn transitioned from Broadway to Hollywood in 1932, having Leland Hayward as her agent. Due to her entanglement with Hayward, she divorced her husband in 1934. However, Hepburn ultimately chose not to marry Hayward. She was deeply focused on her career and personal growth. After their relationship ended, Hepburn had other significant relationships, including the one with Howard Hughes.
Well, Barry was always, from the beginning, I think he had a big crush on me.
Number 1, Florence Henderson and Barry Williams. 36-year-old actress Florence Henderson was rumored to be having an affair with 16-year-old co-star Barry Williams in the 1970s during the run of the popular TV show The Brady Bunch. Barry Williams, who played the oldest son Greg, dated and had an affair. This shocking bit of scandal haunted Henderson long after the show ended. Henderson was a happily married mother of 4 when the show was airing. However, she was forever associated with her role as Carol Brady. In a controversial interview, Williams confessed that he admired Henderson and fantasized about being with her. He admitted that he once took her on a date, and at the end, he fulfilled his dream of planting a kiss on her cheek. This prompted Henderson to open up about her supposed date with the younger Williams to save her reputation because it already looked like she had an affair with a teenage boy. Henderson spoke about the moment she went out with Williams, noting that she would have done it with any older children if they had asked, because she saw herself as a mentor. Moreover, she understood Williams was entering adulthood and did not want to discourage him by turning him down. She considered his request to be innocent. Williams was too young to drive, so his brother drove them to the date. Henderson explained that the night was purely innocent, and the goodnight kiss was blown out of proportion. The actor also noted that she was aware of Williams's crush on her and played her part to help him get past it. After leaving the show, Henderson and Williams remained friends and shared a good bond. Henderson remained loved as the beloved Carol Brady until she passed away in 2016 at age 82. Which among these love affairs touched your heart when you heard about it? And why did you identify with it so deeply? Please let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Before you go, watch the other videos on your screen.